I can't get no. I can't get me no. That's about all I can do. Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to this new series. This is Pointless History, where I tell you useless bullshit that's supposed to fire your imagination. I don't think that's the lyrics. I think the lyrics is useless information that's supposed to fire your imagination. Well, in relation to the lyrics from I Can't Get No Satisfaction, this is what this video is about. It is about the Satisfaction guitar by DEVO. Now, many of you know DEVO. It's much better. Many of you know DEVO as the 80s pop band that made the hit song Whip It, but they also did some other stuff like Uncontrollable Urge, Freedom of Choice, Girl You Want, Gates of Steel, Gut Feeling, and a bunch of others. But they also did some covers such as Are You Experienced, Don't Be Cruel, It Takes a Worried Man, and their most famous cover of I Can't Get No Satisfaction, originally by the Rolling Stones. But what I became interested in with DEVO was this guitar that they used. But to go back to how I figured out about this cover that they did, let's start back to when I was on Facebook one day. I first discovered this cover from a video shared on Facebook of DEVO performing on SNL in 1978, and on there they played Satisfaction and Jocko Homo. They had the yellow radiation suits on with the Velcro belts and stick-on letters that spelled out DEVO. I can't get no satisfaction. Along with the jerky animatronic movements and Mark Mothersbaugh's brilliant singing, it blew my mind, and since then I've been a fan. I afterwards watched the music video and I loved it, but I noticed little differences. In the music video and album version, he just strums the untuned loose strings. But in the live performances, Mark plays the original Rolling Stones Satisfaction riff, then goes into his melody of the untuned loose strings. The second thing I noticed was the guitars he used. In the music video, he used a white Fender Telecaster hooked up to an Electro Harmonix frequency analyzer, essentially a ring modulator pedal, that was duct taped to the bottom of the guitar. On their SNL performance, Mark used a red Hagstrom 1 guitar that Bob Tucaselli lent to him, with an orange Ibanez overdrive pedal, a Frog ring modulator, and an unknown pedal, possibly another overdrive distortion pedal. He eventually changed up the setup by getting rid of the unknown pedal, replacing the orange Ibanez overdrive with a green Ibanez overdrive 2, and keeping the Frog ring modulator. In a performance in 1978 in Paris, he had used a new guitar that I'm not sure of. From the looks of it, it almost resembles a Gibson Firebird, with the green Ibanez overdrive and the Frog ring modulator. Afterwards, Mark went to another Telecaster with the Ibanez overdrive pedal and the Frog ring modulator. He eventually got rid of the ring modulator and started using the overdrive pedal instead. The only reason he used the ring modulator was for the song Too Much Paranoias, specifically for this part. Also, since we're on the topic of other songs that this guitar was used for, Mark also performed another song called Penetration in the Centerfold with it at Max's Kansas City in 1977. Do you remember that unknown pedal I was talking about before from their SNL performance? Well, Mark brought that back for a minute in 1980. After 1980, DEVO didn't play their Satisfaction cover for a while, except for an encore in 1982. But it is unsure what guitar Mark played for that one, possibly the same Telecaster from before. Now skip ahead 6 years later, in 1988, DEVO was on tour again for their album Total DEVO, and they started playing their Satisfaction cover again regularly, and Mark had a new guitar this time. It was a Gibson L6S, lent either from Bob 1 or Bob 2. This guitar is a mixture of a Les Paul and an SG, both by Gibson. Mark also had a Boss DS1 distortion pedal duct taped to this guitar, then eventually switched to a Boss DS2 turbo distortion. Remember that frequency analyzer? Mark brought that back for a minute in 1989, having it duct taped to the bottom of the guitar. After 1991, DEVO went on hiatus and didn't perform again until the winter of 1996 at the Sundance Film Festival. There they performed classic DEVO songs, as well as their Satisfaction cover and Too Much Paranoias for the first time in almost 20 years. The guitar Mark used for this performance was a white Fender Stratocaster with a DoD Super Distortion, a Frog ring modulator again, and another unknown pedal, possibly an overdrive distortion pedal. Later on that year, DEVO performed at Lollapalooza, and this time for their Satisfaction cover, Mark had a black left-handed Fender Squier Stratocaster with a Boss DS2 distortion pedal attached to it. It eventually was duct taped to the guitar, as well as the Frog ring modulator. For over 20 years now, Mark used that guitar for any time they performed their Satisfaction cover, as well as Too Much Paranoias. But there were some changes to this guitar. They eventually stopped using duct tape or whatever they used, and started velcroing the pedals to the guitar. They replaced the turbo distortion pedal with a regular Boss DS1 distortion pedal. Last year at Burger Boogaloo, DEVO performed for the first time in 2 years along with their fellow DEVO fan, friend, comedian, and drummer Fred Armisen. They again performed their Satisfaction cover, but this time Mark brought back the frequency analyzer and had it foil taped at the bottom of the guitar. But from the looks of it, it wasn't hooked up since it ran off of AC power, so the sound was coming straight from the distortion pedal. So that's the history of the Satisfaction guitar. Now I want to show you guys something really cool that I did this previous summer. I made my own Satisfaction guitar. It's identical to the one that Mark Mothersbaugh uses, except his is a left-handed Stratocaster and mine's a right-handed off-brand Stratocaster. It's not a Fender. This is it's by a company called TMZ. I just covered up the label with foil tape, but it's exactly identical to the other one. Well, not exactly, but it's pretty identical, I should say. I have the Boss DS1 distortion pedal over here taped over so I can get to the battery easier and press the button a hell of a lot easier. Yep, there it goes. And then over here, because I couldn't find that Frog ring modulator that they use, I found a gonculator by DoD, and it's a ring modulator mixed with a distortion pedal. So I have double the distortion and ring modulator. But before this ring modulator, I had a different pedal on here, and it had 11 features on it. It's just a regular digital modulator made by this company called Cool Music. I just put that tape on there and label because it looked a lot better that way. It has 11 features. It has Dynafilter, wah, detune, chorus, vibrato, tremolo, flanger, tremolo flanger, phaser, rotary, and ring. I have it set on detune right now. I don't know why. The only problem with this one is that it was only going to be able to run off of AC power and not a 9-volt battery. This one, however, runs off 9-volt battery, so it worked out. Now to show you off the sound that I can make out of it, just get my cutout guitar pick of a Van Sneaker from like a $25 off coupon or something I had, but I missed the cutoff date or whatever it was. Also to show off, this has the 4 strings just like my Mark has on his. I might have not mentioned it before, I can't really remember. I have 2 strings here that are tuned to unison A. It's probably better if I do that this way. Like that, and then these are just really loose. Yeah, that's a little loud. Satisfaction, I can't get enough. Satisfaction, and I try, and I try, and I try. I can't get no, I can't get me no. That's about all I can do. I did mention before, there is another song that they use this guitar for, and it's for Too Much Paranoias, and I have to set it up in the right way. I should have mentioned before how Mark actually plays Too Much Paranoias, because it's really, really weird. Because it does this weird noise every time he plays it. What he does is he presses up on this part right here, and he kind of just moves it down. It just sounds like this. Like that. It sounds really cool, but then he starts playing it like... and then kicks in with the ring modulator. So like that. This is also an excuse to show off a little bit of my guitar skills. I don't have much, but that's the best I could do. And also the way I have these attached, the pedals I'm talking about, Velcro, just like what they did, or are doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video if you're a hardcore DEVO fan, and if not, I hope you enjoyed it in general. Thanks for watching, everybody. Duty now for the future.